So it's been a little while since we've checked in on old Sammy boy, and I was thinking about him the other day. I was wondering, what's going on over there? We haven't heard a lot of news. We're kind of in that part of the legal process where things are just kind of playing out on the back end. They're getting all the technicalities out of the way, and we're awaiting, the trial itself. So, just like anyone else, I went to Google to see what was going on over there, and I came across an article that I found pretty funny. And I want to share it with you guys because, for one, I'm sure you're curious as to what is going on the Sam Bankman-Fried front. And two, you'll probably find it a little comical as well. So the article is from NBC News, but it's quoting a Reuters article. And the title of it is Sam Bankman-Fried's bid to dismiss cryptocurrency charges is meritless, prosecutors say. Yes, you heard that right. Sam submitted to have his charges dropped. Now, from my understanding, it's not all of the charges, but let's go ahead and read the article a little bit more and see what all took place here. So, prosecutors urged a Manhattan federal court judge on Monday to deny a request by FTX co-founder Sam Bankman-Fried to dismiss criminal charges accusing him of stealing billions of dollars from customers to plug losses at his hedge fund. Bankman-Fried, the 31-year-old former cryptocurrency billionaire, has pleaded not guilty to 13 counts of fraud, conspiracy, making illegal campaign contributions, and foreign bribery. So that's quite the list of charges right there. On May 8th, Bankman-Fried urged U.S. District Judge Lewis Kaplan to dismiss most of the counts, saying prosecutors charged him in a quote-unquote rush to judgment following a broad crash in 2022 where several prominent cryptocurrency companies went bankrupt, including his own Alameda Research. In a filing late Monday, prosecutors described motions to dismiss the charges as meritless, rebutting Bankman-Fried's argument that the indictment allegations were insufficient and legally defective. I thought that this was kind of funny. So Sam's basically saying that, look, you guys rushed to charge me because the media was out there. The story was hot off the press at the time. And so you slapped all these on me, and I don't think all of them should apply. Now, reading through that list, I didn't see any that were like, oh yeah, he for sure did not do that. That were just so so outlandish that, yeah, they should be dropped. To me, again, these all seemed like, from my understanding, through doing research and, reading lots of articles, these all seem to have applied in the FTX Sam Bankman-Fried case. These charges all seem to be, legitimate. Again, none of them were totally outlandish that I don't think should be, that should be dropped. I don't think any of them warranted that. Kaplan will hear oral arguments on June 15th. Bankman-Fried has said FTX's risk management was subpar, but has denied stealing funds. He has sought to distance himself from the collapse of Alameda, the crypto-focused hedge fund he owned. Its former chief executive, Carolyn Ellison, has pleaded guilty and agreed to cooperate with prosecutors. He has also argued that some of the fraud charges he faces were based on a theory that the U.S. Supreme Court invalidated on May 11th. The theory, known as right to control, centers around depriving a victim of economically valuable information rather than tangible property. The Supreme Court called the theory inconsistent with how the federal fraud laws had been written and historically applied. When it overturned a bid rigging conviction of a Buffalo, New York construction executive earlier this month. Legal experts have said that Sam Bankman-Fried faces long odds of getting the charges tossed because prosecutors can point to tangible money that his customers lost. Bankman-Fried rode a boom in a digital currency's values to a $26 billion net worth and became an influential political and philanthropic donor before FTX sought Chapter 11 protection in November. Since his December extradition from the Bahamas, Bankman-Fried has largely been under house arrest at his parents' in Palo Alto, California, home on a $250 million bond. His trial is scheduled for October 2nd. So there we go. For one, we got a trial date, which I'm sure that was probably already out there, but this is the first time I saw the actual trial date, so October 2nd, coming up this year, the end of this year. But again, I thought that this was kind of funny, and I don't blame Sam, right? Because if you're a guy in Sam's shoes, of course you're going to shoot your shot and try to dismiss whatever you can and try to get out of as much as you can, right? Like what's there to lose at this point for Sam? He's got all of these charges slapped against him. If we can get a few of them dropped, great. So again, I see where he's coming from. Like, again, I'm not siding with Sam, and I don't think that they should be dropped, but I understand why he did it. Now, the argument, again, he's kind of beaten down the path of like, look, this was just poor operations is what he's really trying to blame all this on. Like, it wasn't that he stole the funds. It was just that they didn't keep track of them very well, and so he kind of stole them, but he unintentionally stole them. Now, here's the thing. You run into this this dilemma. It's, whether he intentionally stole them or just they had operations that were so poor that they just dipped into them by accident. To me, again, I'm no lawyer, I'm no judge or anything like that. So, I'm sure there's other legal interpretations of how this, all these different laws would apply here. But to me, it's kind of the same thing, right? Like, the end result is the same. All these people lost their money in a way that was illegitimate. Like, that's really what it comes down to. Whether you intended to do that or it just happened by accident, it was still your fault. You still, you were running a huge company and you didn't put in the safeguards or the operations to manage all the money you were managing, and just kind of wung it, just kind of went with it. And I think that negligence is debatably just as bad as someone who's just going out to steal funds. I mean, again, the end result is the same. All these people lost their money, and now you're trying to get out of it saying it was just, an operational thing, which, again, that's where I really run into the dilemma here is, like, I don't know if that even matters, like, in my eyes, like, whether it was, just gross negligence or intentional, like, at the end of the day, the end results are the same. But I'm curious to hear what's your guys' thoughts on this. Do you think that, if Sam didn't intend to take people's money, should he be facing lesser charges? What do you guys think there? Again, and also this is something that's kind of hard to prove, right? Like, we know that there's a lot of backdoor stuff that Sam had going on. So I don't even know how you can prove that. Maybe he can say that it wasn't on purpose. He can say that it was just due to operations, and that's going to be their argument. We already see that. That's how, that's going to be his case, or his argument against all the charges out there is that, it really wasn't intentional. But how do you know for sure that it wasn't intentional? Given all the information that we have, the messages that were in, the different Slack groups and things like that, and just the way he's went about a lot of things, like, I don't know. It almost seems to me like a guy who he's not going out there like you would picture a robber, right? Like, he didn't go out there and, like, stuff the bags full of money, throw it over his shoulder and walk out the door. But it almost seems like they turned a blind eye to a lot of things they knew would benefit them, and then they could just blame on gross negligence, right? Like, it seems like it was intentional in that way from my understanding. Again, just through reading everything, that seems to be the intentional part, is that they knew it was going on, but they decided to look the other way because it wouldn't benefit them. It would cost them lots of money to develop these operations and have people look at it. And if they could use customer funds, if some trader was using customer funds, that kind of helps FTX. So let's just look over here and just pretend like we don't know that that's going on. That's kind of how I think things went based on, again, what I've read. So yeah, I just wanted to share this with you guys because, again, I was curious on what was going on the Sam Bankman-Fried front, and then I saw that he was trying to get some charges dropped. So I thought that was kind of funny. But yeah, guys, if this is your first time to the channel, please like and subscribe. And with that being said, I will see you all next time.